studies. So we'd like to open the floor for questions that anyone may have. I think that in lieu of Wendy had said, please type any questions here, but we have such a small group. It'd be great to include, to have a discussion. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have. You could do it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share your questions that way.
So I think we're allowed to ask questions too, right?
So we have a question. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Wendy.
I'm sorry, there is a question from somebody else. I'm gonna go ahead and let them go first.
It's from Don. It's to Dr. Hurtado. How do you plan on disseminating your findings to the community? I had the same question.
Thank you. This is an excellent question. And we have to make sure that researchers not only publish research for scientific audiences, because as researchers, a lot of them only publish manuscripts or go to scientific presentations without really giving back the knowledge to the community. And I think it is key that we give back the information and the findings to the community. So in our team, we have used different ways of disseminating the information. For the video, we did an event at a community setting in which we played the video, we showcased the video, and we invited not only community members, but also the participants who had given us suggestions about how to make the video in the formative phase. So then they could come and watch the video. We could thank them for everything they contributed. And I think it was a great opportunity to see what participation, what was the product of the participation, and how without their participation we would never have been able to develop the video. So that was one of the ways we disseminated information. We also developed newsletters using infographics so that we can convey the information in a way that is easier to understand. And we disseminated through our community-based organizations, and they also share within their listservs or like in Facebook. And we also participate in this type of meetings with Nueva Vida. We are also very active with the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, and that has been a great way for us to disseminate the findings from the studies that we have been conducted together. With Ms. Jones, we have also done publications at local newspapers. So those have been some of the ways that we have made sure that we're providing findings back to the community.
And Dr. Wang, a similar question for you. That it sounds like the self-acupuncture is such a beneficial, non-invasive type of treatment, or complementary and alternative treatment for women with cancer. What are ways that you plan to get the word out as to the effectiveness? At least you seem to be finding some effectiveness in this form of treatment. How do you plan to get the word out?
So we think about like several things from the clinical point, and also like which way we can save like a patient's time. So then I found out this like acupressure is kind of treating as an alternative complementary medicine, and also they now call like integrative care. So maybe this is a way we think we can connect the traditional like conventional medicine, and still has another way that we can be an adjuvant kind of support. And so then we tested this out, and we found, oh, interesting, this like kind of approach not only reduce fatigue, but also helping patients to manage their sleep. And when they sleep better, and they feel like kind of more energetic. And they also, several patients, we also test this in for the GI patients who are under chemotherapy. We found very similar like results, but I didn't share that with you here. And this is focused on the breast cancer awareness. Yeah, So we think about maybe there's a joint points, not only focus on the pharmacological treatment, but also have some like a non-pharmacological treatment that can integrate it together to help patient to really with something they can do on their own. Yeah. So this is the idea. And we're so glad that our community members here, like Ms. Jones and also Nayovidas, who are very willing to support us together. Yeah.
So Ms. Jones, Thelma Jones, she runs a breast cancer foundation in Rivera that Dr. Hurtado and Dr. Wang have been referring to, are community organizations who have partnered with researchers, not only for these studies, but other studies. And we do actually have Ms. Jones here. So glad you could join. So thank you so much, both of you, Dr. Mendoza and Dr. Wang, for your presentations again. This is really wonderful to see that research, as we know, in clinical trials, in treatment, taking up medical treatment is not the only way research is done, and that there are other ways other types of research like the ones you are doing, and the fact that including diverse groups in your research. So thank you for all that you're doing. So we will move on now and just share a few slides about.
I think Ms. Jones was. I think someone else had a question that I wanted to. Does someone have a question?
Yes, Wendy, Dr. Wang. Sorry about that. Thanks, Dawn. Dr. Wang, I find the acupuncture study so interesting. Were other factors that could have influenced the results controlled, and how about placebo effect?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. And we have a very small samples, like we only have like 89 in total, 51 in the acupressure group, and then 50 in the acupressure group, and 21 in the usual care at the end of like a 6-week intervention. So we have like some attrition, but the attrition usually is because like after they know they randomize to the usual care group, they either don't want to participate, we couldn't follow up with them, or some after like we deliver the intervention, they learn from the video and they receive the in person like a training, they knew how to do it. So when we follow up with them, we couldn't really reach them further. Yeah, so that probably the two main reasons that we had attrition. But we found like when we analyzed the study, we're thinking about is that the acupressure intervention effects because like they also do the physical activity and using other practice, and is the usual care, maybe because after they know they randomize, then they do better from like doing more exercise and doing more other things, so they kind of have some like a different performance. But then we found that like we do find like a usual care group has a higher level of physical activity compared to acupressure group. And then we found that when we do the correlation, we found the correlation in the correlation between the physical activity and the fatigue reduction is significant in the usual care group, but there is no significant correlation in the acupressure group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we wouldn't see this is like a placebo effects, like as people assume that maybe it's for other factor. We see this is consistent. The acupressure effect is more consistent in the acupressure group when we try to account it for the physical activity. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. We are at the top of the hour, and I just want to point out that Ms. Jones has included the correct name for her organization, the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, and she has included the website. It is 8 o'clock. We do have one question. I'm not sure if we, could take. Well, we could. Why not? Let's take the question. Dr. Hurtado, are you planning on developing videos in other racial and ethnic groups?
Yes, that's an excellent question, and it has a short answer, which is yes. So in collaboration with Dr. Shepard, she has a grant that was funded by the NCI, an R21 grant, in which we developed a similar video, telenovela style video for African-American women at risk of hereditary breast and ovarian cancer. That video has already been developed. It was developed through COVID. So imagine like all the limitations. So we had to do it like through Zoom. So it's going to be interesting. And now we are in the process of testing the video. So hopefully next time we come, we will be able to share findings about that study as well.